Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Teresa and today I am doing a quite unexpected unhaul. So this unhaul is a bit unexpected. Not the fact that the unhaul is unexpected, the amount of books that I'm unhauling is actually unexpected. Now I have a rule where if I've read a book, I own it, I read it. If that book is not a 4-star or higher, it does not stay on my shelves. For reference, the 3 white shelves behind me, these shelves are my TBR shelves. I have not read a single book on these shelves. Can't really tell, but like over here, I have a couple of black shelves. They are an absolute mess right now, which is why you don't really see them in my video. But those are my red shelves. Those are the books that I have read and loved and are staying on my shelves. Hence, they are all 4 stars or higher. And so I'm like, okay, I have a pile of books that are mostly books I've read that I just don't want to keep. I will say this too. Sometimes it can be a 4-star and I still don't want to keep it. It is what it is. You know what I mean? But like, it's a hard rule unless there's a very specific reason, like super sentimental or something, that if it's not a 4-star, it doesn't stay, because I have very limited space on my shelves, which is my own doing, but we're not going to talk about that. So yeah, these are mostly books I've read, don't want to keep. A couple of them in here I'm getting rid of because I've had duplicates of them, and there's like maybe 2 or 3 that have some content in it that I am not okay with reading. I've really been convicted lately on what I've been reading and what I'm allowing myself to keep on my shelves. It's not so much what I've been reading, because I haven't really been reading books that I am convicted by. I have been feeling convicted to unhaul some books that I feel like might have some content in it that I don't want to read, and I'll get into that in a minute. So there's a couple books I have taken off that I took off a while ago that I know for a fact, hey, these have this content, I don't want to read about it, as well as content that can be triggering for me. Pet death, especially when we're talking dogs, is extremely triggering for me. So I have 2 piles. I have a pile over here and I have a pile over here. And these are all of my unhauls. Now, the reason why this is an unexpected unhaul is because I went through, the past 3 days, I went through a major shelf audit, like very in-depth, hardcore shelf audit. It started with just being like, oh, my shelves are kind of dusty. Let me dust them. And I was like, I should really take the books out and dust behind them and all that, because I really haven't done that in a long time. So then I like took all my books one by one off the shelves, dusted, cleaned them, put them back. As I was putting them back, I'm like, you know what? I want to change things up a bit. It might look no different to you at all. This specific, the one right behind me, this background is pretty much always the same. From your guys' perspective, unless you pay close attention, you probably will not really notice anything different within the shelves. But I did change a few shelves around, where I put certain books, how I shelf them, all of that. And while doing that, I was like, oh, I should really look at the content in some of these books, because like, what if the content in these books have either my trigger or content that I have been really convicted about not keeping on my shelves. Like, again, it's not that I'm convicted about reading it, because I'm not reading that content, but I don't even want it to come up. Like, I very much am like, I don't even want that book on my shelves if it even has that kind of content in it, if that makes sense. The content I'm specifically talking about is explicit content. So smut, spice, erotica, romance, like sexatom kind of romance. Yeah, explicit content I do not want on my shelves. I do not like to read that type of content. I do not like to, and I really try to avoid explicit content. Especially, guys, this is a whole rant for another video, but like, especially in YA books. Thoughts? Yeah, I just don't want that kind of content in my brain. And why would I want that on my shelves? If I know that I don't like that content, if I know I don't want to read a book that has that content in it, why would I keep it? So I went into a deep dive into these shelves and pulled out a ton of books that, after doing some research on, I have found have a lot of content that I am not okay with. So I need y'all's help though, because if you have read a book that I'm unhauling and I say, like, you know, it's for the content reason, if you've read that book and you know for a fact that I am incorrect, can you let me know? Because some of these still seem pretty interesting to me, and I'm like, I might still be willing to pick this book up at a later time. I just need to be aware this content is in there, and knowing that content is in there, I'm not going to want it on my shelves. Even if I enjoy the book, I don't want it on my shelves. Does that make sense? First and foremost, before we do any of that, we're just going to talk about the books that I already had in my unhaul pile, which I already had a pretty large group of books in my unhaul pile that have just been waiting for me to make a video so I can get them out of my house. I will say too, these books are, I know I have at least one ARC that's going away. So ARCs, I always go to free little libraries. I always take my ARCs to free little libraries. Then after I do that, I usually go to my local indie and I sell whatever my local indie will take. And then after that, if I have the energy, I'll post on Pango. I really have not sold very many books on Pango. Majority of the books either don't sell or I just really don't have the energy to put into trying to get them to sell. But if you see any books in here that you might want, you can check out the Pango store. It's linked in the bio. If it's not sold on Pango, again, it just goes to a free little library. It just is. That's just the process. Free little library for ARCs, never sell those. Local indie, Pango, and free little library. That's where all these books are going. Okay, I'm going to try and make it quick, especially the books I've read, to give you a very short and sweet reason why I'm unhauling these, because I could be here talking all day. We all know this. So let's just go ahead and dive in. They're not really in particular order, so I'm just going to kind of hold them up, tell you a little bit about it, why I'm unhauling it. So first off, we have Michael, and this is by Jill Aline Smith. I give this like a 3-something, 3.5, I think. The historical facts was interesting, but it was just too heavy on the romance for me. Like, not in like a sexual way. It wasn't inappropriate or anything. It was just like, it was very romance heavy. I don't like romance in my books, but I don't like romance books. And it just, I don't know, it felt a little dated. When was this written? 2009. I just didn't really enjoy the writing style as much either. So, like I said, if it's not a 4 or above, it doesn't stay. This was a 3.5, it goes away. Then we have Best Offer Wins by Marissa Cascino. I actually have 2 copies of this. This book, of course, you can't really see it now that it's been sitting, but when I got this book, the edges, like the whole book was warped. Like it looked like it maybe got wet in here and it's been like this. Now that it's been sitting for a while, it looks okay, but I did end up getting a replacement from Book of the Month because it was like in a, yeah, it just doesn't sit right. There was just something about this. It was slightly damaged. You can't really tell from video, I don't think, but yeah, it's got some weird things. So they just sent me a replacement, so I don't need 2. So this one's going away. Then I have Wild Dark Shore by Charlotte McConaughey. This is a book that I really did enjoy, but I just got the Lolly from Book of the Month. This won the Lolly Award for 2025 as a Book of the Month BFF. I get a free Lolly or one of the books, and if you got the Lolly edition of this, it came with a really cool bookmark that has a seed planted in it, so you can grow a flower. And I decided to get that because I did really enjoy this one, and honestly, none of the other books that were nominated were that interesting to me. So while I will be keeping a copy of this on my shelf, this specific copy can go because it's just a generic copy. I will be keeping the Lolly edition. Next up, we have the Owl Crate edition of The Ivory Key by Arishka Raymond. Forgive me if I'm pronouncing names incorrectly. This is a YA, like Southeast Asian Indian inspired story, which I very much enjoy those type of stories. This follows a few siblings and I don't remember how much about it. I think they have to go on a quest to find a key, and then whoever finds the key is the one who will then become king or queen of the country because their father is dying or died or something. They have to go on some kind of quest. It's book 1, duology. It was okay. I enjoyed it, but it's not one that I'm like, obviously I don't really remember much about it, so again, I don't need to keep it on my shelves. Then we have this book. I have a whole vlog talking about this book that maybe see the light of day someday. I don't know if it will. Hopefully though, because I had a lot to say about this book. This is Nightshade by Andrea Kramer. And this was not at all what I was expecting. This is about a female alpha werewolf. Y'all know anything about werewolves, you know there ain't no such thing as a female alpha. I was very excited. This book had so much toxic relationships, like borderline SA type of things, pushing consent like crazy. I mean, there was no actual like assault, but extremely pushing consent and making it look like that's okay. And this is again a YA teenager book. It was quite yeah, it was a book that I, funny thing is, I will be continuing the series because the actual storyline, the magic, the like mystery that's happening in the book was actually super interesting to me. So basically they're not like really werewolves, but they're like people that can shift into wolves, wolf shifters, I guess. They live in this town, and they are to take care of these mystical, magical beings. They're like the immortal beings. They're like their enforcers, their bodyguards, and they fight the evil or whatever. But we kind of come to find out that like maybe the ones that the chick who is on the cover here thought were good, maybe they're not so good. And a new boy comes to town, and there's a love triangle. And not that I really mind those, it's just the amount of non-consent in this book, and in a way that was like pushed upon her by adults, made me really, really freaking pissed off. So this is going away. I do have book 2 on my shelves, which you would think after I say all that I wouldn't. But the story was so intriguing. So I'm going to read book 2, and then I'm going to unhaul book 2. I might as well just unhaul book 2 right now. What am I even saying, guys? I'm just going to do that. Because why would I not? It's all the way over there. I'll get it in a minute. Yeah, I'm just going to unhaul book 2 as well, because I've heard it only gets muddier from here, and I don't want that. So I will read it because I want to know what happens in the story, but I know I'm gonna unhaul it, so like why would I keep it? So yeah, this one and book 2 are gonna go away. This is a book I won as an ARC. I Don't Wish You Well by dog hair all over it. Jumada Emil. Again, apologies for butchering names. My name gets butchered all the time, so like I get it. And this one was supposed to be like a YA murder mystery type of thing, or YA thriller. I find I am really not a fan of YA thrillers. I'm very, very picky with my YA thrillers. I feel like a lot of times they feel to me as if they're trying to be adult, but yet still be YA. There's usually a lot of cussing. There's usually a lot of stuff that I'm like, even adult thrillers don't go there, okay? But I was willing to give this one a try. I won it in a Goodreads giveaway as an ARC. This came out in January 2026, but I have since heard that there is some content in here that I just really don't think I would like. If y'all know me, you know I have a very difficult time getting to my ARCs and my physical copies, so I'm just going to let this one go. Hopefully someone else can find it in a free little library and love it. So apologies for not being able to review that for, the author, but I found out after the fact that there was some content in there that I was just like, yeah, I just don't think that's for me. So I don't remember what the content was, to be perfectly honest with you. I just remember hearing someone review it and it was like, that doesn't sound like a book I would like, so I'm gonna get rid of it. Then we have Gone at Midnight. This is The Mysterious Death of Elisa Lamb by Jake Anderson. This is a true crime novel following the death and suspicions regarding the Cecil Motel, as well as Elisa herself. There are some like photographs and stuff in here. I was very fascinated with this case. 2013 is when this happened. This was kind of all over YouTube for a while, like a lot of like people like internet sleuths and stuff, because there are people that say that there is some sort of conspiracy or some sort of supernatural element at play here. So while I was excited to read it, to learn more about this woman's story and the case itself, this kind of turned into being half true crime, half memoir, or half self-discovery for the author. And like, no offense to the author, but like I just didn't care. Like I'm glad he was able to work through his stuff. The thing he's working through is bipolar disorder. So our main, it's not a character, the woman Elisa Lamb who was killed, Elisa Lamb, she had bipolar. Our author has bipolar, and so he is throughout the book kind of comparing and contrasting his life to her life and his disease with how she handled her disease or mental illness. So that just, I didn't really care. Like, again, it's nothing personal, but I picked up this book for the true crime aspect. I didn't pick it up for the memoir aspect. So I also got this from a free little library, so this one is just going to go back into a free little library. Let's keep going. So next up, we have The Ivies. This is by Alexa Dunn. Alexa Dunn is a author tuber, and I pre-ordered this. I was very excited when this came out, as I have followed her for a while, but once again, I just don't vibe with YA thrillers. This is a dark academia high school setting where it's like literally cutthroat, like literally cutthroat, to get into Ivy League schools because they only accept so many people from each school, da 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 da. And there's a group of students who are called the Ivies, who are all friends and all like obviously like beyond obsessed with getting into their chosen schools. But then one of them shows up dead, and there's a whole thing. It was okay. I do think I have had this on my shelves for a while, so I know I gave it at least a 4. But like looking through my shelves again, I was like, you know what? I'm not really that interested in it. Let me pass it on to someone who would find more enjoyment in this than I did. Hidden Suns by Janine Finn. This is one I pulled off my shelves because I was warned that there is some sexual content in here that I would not appreciate or like. I don't know, I probably should not be in the sun because that's pretty intense. I feel like I need to move the camera to like get the shadows. Anyways, yeah, I pulled this off a while ago. This was not in my recent shelf audit. This was just a one that I knew about for a while, that it has some sexual content that I will not like. So again, I'm not going to keep a book on my shelves that has content in it that I know I'm not going to be happy with. For the most part, I don't want sexualized or sexual content on my shelves. And this one I've heard has that in it. So this is a sci-fi. It's still probably a book that I will check out from the library and attempt to read and see what I think. But it's been on my shelves for so long anyways, guys. I don't need to keep it. Okay, let's move on. Then we have When My Heart Was Wicked by Trisha Sterling. Now this is one I DNF'd. This one is, which I guess I probably should have noticed by the blurb. This is very, very heavy on the witchcraft. Our main character is just a straight up witch or Wiccan. And as a Christian, I am trying to stay more and more away from that type of thing. I will still read a book if it has witches in it. It's very dependent upon the context. It's very dependent upon the book itself. I own the Book of the Witching. I'm keeping that. I really, really enjoyed that book. This one, I mean, it's a little YA novel, but I seriously was within the first chapter, I was just like, not for me. This is a conviction that I have that I'm just like, yeah, I don't need witchcraft on my shelves. So this one is gonna go bye-bye. Cold the Night, Fast the Wolves by Meg Long. This one was a 3.75. I did enjoy this book, but again, it's not a 4-star, and it's not one that I'm going to keep on my shelves. This is about it's basically the Iditarod on an alien planet, but people kill each other. It takes place on this ice planet, which it's very interesting. It's sci-fi, but I don't know. It just didn't have, it wasn't quite a 4-star, so it goes away. This one as well, we have Havenfall by Sarah Holland. This was not quite a 4-star, 3.5, 3.75 range. It's magical, mystical type of book. Takes place in Colorado, the Rocky Mountains, on this, there's 3 different worlds, universes that kind of all can converge be at peace at this one inn. There's a peace treaty that gets signed every year. And this year, when she goes, because her uncle runs the inn, her uncle disappears, and I think people die. Stuff starts happening. There's some weird creature in the woods that's possibly killing people, and a whole bunch of crazy stuff goes down. I enjoyed it, and I will be continuing. It is a duology, so I will be reading the second book, as I would like to know. Same with the last one too. It's a duology. I will be reading the second book, but again, it's just not a book that I loved, so it's not going to stay on my shelf. Next up, we have The Guest List by Lucy Foley. This is another one that I was disappointed. It didn't hold up to expectation. This is about a wedding on a remote island, and someone dies. It's kind of no, it's not an And Then There Were None kind of thing. It's more just isolated setting murder mystery thriller. There is a sexual scene in here that happens that, again, I just wasn't the biggest fan of. Sometimes, like in Wild Duck Shore, I will keep that book on my shelves even with that in there. But this one as well, it just in general, I was disappointed in it. It's a little bit more crude than what I personally prefer. I'm pretty sure Lucy Foley is a British author. Yeah, and I have found that British thrillers written by British authors, a lot of times, not all the times, but a lot of times can be more on the crude side. And I think that's just a cultural thing. Whereas I just am not really, that's just not for me. So I loved The Paris Apartment by this author. Adored that book, which I know that's a hot take for some people, but this one just didn't work for me. So it's going to go away. A Talent for Murder by Peter Swanson. I found out after I got this book from Book of the Month that this is a sequel. Now, it is a book that can be read as a standalone, but I am a purist, y'all. And if I'm going to own a book in a series, because I may love this, I have no idea. If I'm going to own a book in a series, I want them to all be the same editions. And I don't think Book of the Month has the other books in this series in their Book of the Month editions. So I'm going to be unhauling this one. I don't even remember what this one was about. I guess, oh yeah, it's about a librarian who is newly married, and she believes that her new husband might be a murderer or serial killer or something like that. It sounds fascinating. I've never read Peter Swanson, but I've heard really good things about him. But again, with this being a book in a series, I just was really bummed. I wouldn't have chosen it if I knew that from Book of the Month. And I think that they have since kind of fixed that, because I reached out to them, was like, yo, this ain't cool, guys. And yeah, it is what it is. So this one is going off my shelf. I kept it for a while because I was like, what if I really like it? But you know what, if I really like it, I can go purchase it in a different edition and get the whole series. Okay, next up we have Witches Steeped in Gold. This is by Shannon Smart. This is the Owl Crate edition. It's a gorgeous book, absolutely gorgeous book, and this is like Jamaican lore, which is absolutely fascinating to me. And the reason I've kept it on my shelves for so long is because it's such a beautiful book, and I love mythology. But again, it literally says witches in the title. Like I said, hit or miss for me with that. I'm still kind of trying to figure out where my threshold is. And I have started this book like 2 separate times and just really couldn't get into it. It is a bit of a big book. So I'm just going to go ahead and pass this on to someone who could love it. I still want to read this book someday, but it's just taking up space on my shelves. And I'm like, I'm not going to get to it anytime soon. So yeah, it's just going to go to someone who will appreciate it much more than I will. Okay, then I have, holy moly, this sun. Let's go ahead and talk about the last 3 books that I had originally planned on unhauling. And then we'll get into the section of books that through my book audit of my shelf audit, I am unhauling. So we have The Secret Garden. This is by Frances Hodgson Burnett. This is the Owl Crate Special Edition. And as beautiful as this book is, because it is absolutely gorgeous, the artwork on this cover is so freaking pretty. I just really wasn't a fan of The Secret Garden. The main character drove me a little bit batty, and I felt like it was a little bit of like it was definitely written a long time ago, so there's definitely some content in here that's like, we don't talk to people like that nowadays, or treat people like that nowadays just because they're a different skin color than us, you know? But I could look it over. Like, I am someone that can look past that and give it to the author that like the book is a product of its time. Like that's not something that that's not why I'm getting rid of this. I'm just saying that was just another thing in here. But the main reason is because I couldn't stand the main character. She drove me a little bit insane, and I also felt like this was very much if you just believe in yourself, you'll get better when you're sick, versus like actually, like, oh, just think happy thoughts, do some yoga, take a walk. Which for some people, sure. I'm sure that can help them. But it does kind of rub me the wrong way a little bit as someone who has a chronic illness. I don't think that's what this book was necessarily portraying. I mean, maybe it is. I don't know. But that's kind of how I took from it. So anyways, long-winded explanation to say I didn't really like this book, so I'm going to get rid of it. Daughters of Witching Hill. This one is about I don't think it's the Salem witch trials, but it is Pendle witch trials in 1612. I love reading about the witch trials. I am fascinated by that time period, by the stuff that happened then. In this book specifically, though, they are actual witches from my understanding. And like sometimes I'm okay with that, and sometimes I'm really not. And I don't know. I've been feeling like this book should go for a while. I've been really questioning this one for a while. I was keeping it because it's literally like the only orange book that I own. And I was like, if I ever have a prompt for an orange book. But yeah, it's just been sitting here for a really long time. I might read it again. Like I said, I might read it, but it'll be through the library. So it's just going to go away. And then the last book that I had, like I said, originally planned on getting rid of is The Whispering in the Dark by Kelly Andrew. And this is the Owl Crate edition, which I'm really sad I'm getting rid of this, because this is absolutely a gorgeous, gorgeous book. It has disability representation, which is just amazing. I thought the disability rep was pretty good in here too. It is a beautiful book. Unfortunately, I did not think it was such a beautiful book in the writing. This book was like a 3-star for me. Yeah, I don't really remember off the top of my head why I didn't like it as much. I just know that this was, again, it falls within that rule of it is under a 4-star, so it doesn't stay on my shelves, which I'm very sad about because I love this cover. But it'll go on to someone who will hopefully really, really be happy to have this edition. Okay, I think I'm probably gonna need to like let's see if I can move. No, I just am gonna have to put the blinds down because this is something. This is something else. Anyways, I'll fix this in a minute. But yeah, we're going to move on to the shelf audit books that I literally just pulled off my shelves. I'm going to fix the blinds. Actually, I'm going to charge my phone a little bit, so it'll probably be like 15-20 minutes for me. It'll be like a second for you, and I'll be back. Okay, I am back. Angles probably changed. Obviously, lighting changed because the sun is not quite set yet, but it is set enough. Okay, so let's talk about all of the books that I pulled off during this unexpected shelf audit. The first book that I saw that was like, I'm gonna pull that one off. I'm gonna pull that one off. And then it went from there. It's the Mammoth Book of can't speak. The Mammoth Book of Wolf Men. This is the Ultimate Werewolf Anthology by multiple authors and edited by Stephen Jones. I read one of the stories out of here. It was kind of funny, but I don't know. I feel like there's probably just going to be content in this book that I just am like I don't want to read, you know? And it's bigger. It's a big chunky guy that takes up some space on my shelves. I've had it for quite a few years now, and I just decided I need to let it go because I'm not even an anthology reader. Like, what am I even doing with this book? So yeah, that is what started off this whole deep dive into books that checking content warnings and things on books. I am pro content warnings to an extent. I think you can spoil and overdo it and things, but for certain things, for certain content, I don't know. I know there's controversy around that, but this is my shelves and the books that I know I would enjoy reading or not enjoy reading, or the kind of things like, again, even if I enjoy this book, I might not want to keep it on my shelves due to certain things in it. Plus, some of these actually legit have like legit pet death and dog death specifically, and I'm not okay with that. So I will say, y'all, that I'll save the pet death ones to last because people might view that as a spoiler, and if you don't want to be spoiled, you can skip. And so I'll have all the pet death in one section so y'all are aware if you want to skip that, because I know that can be spoilery for some people. For me, I need to be spoiled because in some books I can handle it if I know it's coming. If I don't know it's coming, it's not a good thing. And other books, even if I know it's coming, I still can't or don't want to handle it. So we'll get to those later. Okay. These are just books I'm removing for content. So The Road by Cortland McCartney. I still very much want to read this book. This is a hard dystopian, and I've heard amazing things about this book. I know they made it into a movie. I would like to watch the movie. It's a Pulitzer Prize winner. There is just, and you all tell me if I'm incorrect here, because if I'm incorrect, I will keep this on my shelf. I don't mind grit. I don't mind darkness. I don't mind that kind of stuff. There's cannibalism in this book, which I am not really a fan of in general. I don't want to read about that. I don't like it. I don't like it in movies, books. I can tolerate it, but even just thinking about it like really messes with my head. Apparently, supposedly, and y'all tell me if I'm wrong, there was a scene where there is all I'm gonna say is it involves an infant. And I'm not gonna give you any more information than that. And I am like, I don't know. I'm not gonna read that. I am not, most of these, if not all of these, I'm not faulting the author. I'm not saying the book is bad. I'm not saying, oh my gosh, I can't believe anyone ever read that, ever write that. This is for me personally. This is my boundaries. And I cannot get the imagery of just what the Google search said out of my head. So I don't want it described in really, beautiful prose, which I'm guessing this is going to be. So if there is not an infant scene in this book, please let me know, because I would really like to read this. I think I could really love this book. I just can't tolerate that scene. So let me know if you've read it. If you would, I'd appreciate that. Next up, we have A Thousand Splendid Suns by Khalid Hosseini. I read and adored The Kite Runner. That is a very heavy book. It's very heavy. It deals with some very intense topics and loved it. So when I saw this book, I was like, oh my gosh, I know this is going to be really emotionally hard hitting, but I loved The Kite Runner, so I really want to read this book. But looking into this more, this book has, again, this is from Google search. So if you've read it and you know I'm incorrect, let me know. But according to Google, it's about abusive relationship, a man that has, I think, 3 wives, and they are all Muslim, I believe. I believe they are Muslim. I don't know what country. The author himself is from Afghanistan, so I'm guessing it's probably set in Afghanistan or somewhere around the Middle East area. But according to Google, which can be wrong, there's a lot of on-page assault that happens on this book. While I can handle the topic of assault, while I can handle the emotional weight of assault in book, I do not want to read about the graphic details, the graphic, like, mechanical things that happen. Supposedly, again, all this is allegedly because I've not read the books. It is used as a way for this man to control his wives and to abuse his wives. And again, while I can handle the emotional impact of that, like in The Kite Runner, there is a very dramatic, horrible essay scene that is really heavy, and the aftermath of it is really heavy. That I can handle because it's 1 minute instant and it's not constantly over and over again on page. This supposedly is over and over again on page. I understand it's for the impact, and I'm sure it's a beautiful, beautiful book, but I can't read that. I don't want to read that. I don't want the imagery in my head. So, while I will shout from the rooftops about The Kite Runner because it's such a beautiful book, I think I'm going to pass on this one. Okay, same with this. Trail of Broken Wings by Sinjal Bandani. This is also dealing with SA. This is following, I believe they are Indian. Yes, Indian American family. It's following 3 sisters and their mother, whose their father falls into a coma, and they have to come back together and kind of deal with the extreme abuse from their past. And supposedly that abuse is explicit on page. There's also some more explicit scenes in a romantic sense in this book as well, which I am also not okay with. It's not just the abuse part, it's the explicitness, period. That is what I'm not okay with. I can handle the other things. It's the explicitness that I do not want to read about. So while I'm sure this is a beautiful, hard-hitting, but like really impactful book, unless someone tells me otherwise, that this does not have the sexual content in it that I don't want to read about, it'll be unhauled. Next up is Child 44 by Tom Rob Smith. This is a thriller that takes place during the Cold War, I believe, or right after the Cold War. It has to do with the Soviet Union. I am interested in that fiction that takes place around that time period, and I love thrillers. I am good with dark, gritty thrillers, but this one, I think we're following a serial killer, honestly, actually, is what is going on here. To my understanding, the killer targets children, and while that is, of course, something no one wants to really read about, I can handle the grit of it. I can handle the emotional impact of it, but I have, again, Google said that it's pretty visceral on page, and there's just some more graphic, grim scenes that I am just going to, like, that I just don't want to read about. I just don't. So I'm gonna unhaul this one. I've been thinking about unhauling this one anyways. It's kind of it's like a short paperback and it's really chunky. But yeah, that one I'm just gonna go ahead and let go. We have Bliss by Brandon Halsey. This is one I wanted a Goodreads giveaway years ago. I've never read it. This is a thriller that is about drug addiction and a new drug named Bliss that is hitting the streets and kind of the repercussions and things that people have to deal with. Scientist uses a summer camp run by a Catholic church as testing ground for his weaponized drug. I guess this borderlines on horror as far as the amount of content in this book, or the type of content in this book. So once again, it's just one I think I'm going to pass on because while I do like a dark, twisty thriller, sometimes it just goes too far for me personally. So we're going to pass that one. Then we have The Devil's Fire by Matt Tomlin. This is like a Pirates of the Caribbean type of story, which, like, I would love that, but I guess there is quite a bit of explicit sexual stuff in this book, which, once again, not for me, so it's going bye-bye. Like I was saying earlier, I have a really big issue with adult content in YA books. That is just something that I personally do not think is appropriate to have for young readers. If young readers want that kind of content, they can seek it out in adult literature. They're going to anyways. So, but we don't need to like celebrate it in books. Controversial opinion, maybe not for people who watch my channel, but I know just in general that is a very hot topic right now, or hot, like a buzzy topic right now. Anyways, like I said, I don't want to read about it, and I really don't want to read about it if it's in a YA fashion. So we have Marked, which is by Kristen Cast. This one, again, from my understanding, is very steamy. Okay, I say very steamy, probably not really, compared to like an adult romance. But for my personal threshold, and again, for the fact that it's a YA book, it is a paranormal romance. It is vampires, which, like, it does come with the territory, but I have read paranormal books, and I really like paranormal stories, urban fantasy, paranormal. I really do like those. But of course, I've found that most of them are sexualized, and I'm like, I get it, but like, come on. Can we do it closed door, please? Supposedly, this book is pushing open door, which I'm not okay with in any way, shape, or form for any book, anytime. So this one is going to go away. And then that is the same for these two. We have Wake and we have Fade. And these are by Lisa McMahon. And I mean, the blurb literally says, so this chick, she gets sucked into people's dreams, the naked but nobody notices dreams, the sex crazed dreams. So like, you know, I should expect that there's going to be sexual content in here, but you can imply sexual content without making it graphic or explicit. And from what I read online, these get a bit explicit. And again, they are labeled as YA, but it is what it is. So these guys are going off my shelves. The Witch Hunter, I have seen that there are some pretty controversial reviews about this, or this book is controversial. This is by a Finnish author, and it is translated, and so some of the content might just be culturally different. Don't know. So apparently there is a scene of essay that happens on page, and not only does it happen on page, but the victim themselves during the attack, they climax apparently. And while I know that's something that actually can happen to victims of assault, from what I've read on reviews, it's not handled well in this book. So that right there was like, yeah, I'm not going to read that. No, thank you. Okay, this next one I'm sad about because this is actually on my list. I think it's on my list of 40 by 40. So I'm going to have to figure something out is how I do that. I might still choose to read it, but it's one that, given the content, I'm 100% not going to want to keep on my shelves, no matter how much I enjoy the book. And that is The Fifth Season by M.K. Jemisin. From my research, there is explicit content in here, explicit sexual content in here. And just from the little blurb that I saw online about some of the wordage used, I'm not okay with that. I'm not comfortable with that. I don't want to read it. And again, from my understanding, it's not just like one little scene that you can skip over. I think it said it's like throughout the book, because look, if there's a scene that's like, oh, just flip page, we're good, it doesn't affect anything else, I can get on board with that. But I don't know. It gives me, it makes me uncomfortable to even think about it. So I'm just going to unhaul it, which does make me sad because this has been on my list to read for years and years and years. And I recently found it and I was like, oh my gosh, I need to get that book because it's the fifth season. And I think the story is going to be amazing, but I'm not cool with the explicit content. So I'm going to get rid of it, and I may choose to pick it up from the library and read it, but it will not be a book that will stay on my shelves. Same with this one, The Walls by Holly Overton. This is a thriller about this woman. She is a corrections officer who works on death row. She meets this man who is like the man of her dreams. They get married, but then he becomes insanely abusive. And I think it's one of those like domestic violence, murder, one woman's desperate gambit to protect her family. But I have heard, in my research, it said that the violence is sexual and it is explicit on page. And again, it happens multiple times throughout the book, not just something that is easily skipped. So while I love the idea of the story of this woman who has to fight for her, like to save herself and her son against this abuser, I'm not going to be able to, I don't want to read the explicit stuff. So I'm not going to, and I'm going to haul it. Same with this one, y'all. I was hoping that this one would not be explicit. This is The Last Wish by Andrzej Sapkowski, Witcher, book one in the Witcher series. I found this through the library. I was really excited because we all know Geralt, The Witcher, the books, TV show, the games. I know that the TV show is explicit. It's on HBO, is it not? No, it's Netflix, but like Netflix is the same as HBO as far as that goes. And I was hoping that was just in the show. I haven't watched the show, to be clear, or played the games. I know nothing about this world, quite honestly, other than like what is in just public lore. But it does say that this book is sexually explicit. And I was like, dang it, man. This is why I'm so like hesitant to pick up adult fantasy. I really want to get into adult fantasy, but I do not want to read explicit books. Very hard to find the line. So that one, unfortunately, is going to go away. While I still would love to know the story, I'm not going to keep it. It's just not happening. Okay, I've explained enough. I don't need to keep telling you why I'm not keeping things. Okay, then we have Drood by Dan. I don't know why I said that so weird. Drood by Dan Simmons. It's a horror, actually, I think is what it's technically classified under. And I'm pretty sure it follows Charles Dickens. Yeah, so it's like Charles Dickens is trying to solve a murder or something along those lines, which sounds great. I mean, look how chunky this guy is. Again, when I was looking this up, it was, I cannot remember if it was like super sexually explicit, but I know it said there was a lot of heavy gore, a lot of body horror, and while I can handle the psychological stuff, I personally don't like the body horror side of things. I have a lot of trouble with that in my books. Like we're talking like the movie Saw, okay? Never seen it, never will, because that level of like torture body horror, I ain't about that. And according to what I saw, this has stuff that is like the equivalent of the body horror, of the torture, of the grit of Saw. So that's going off. I'm getting rid of some big books, which is nice. That's gonna free up a lot of space on my shelves. I'm already like, I have so much room now. I need to fill them. Just like not good. But next up, then we have The Mask Maker by Ken Ulano. This one is like given a little bit of Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs, if you know what I mean. I watched that movie. I love that movie. I watched the second in the series, and that was way too much for me. I couldn't do it. So I don't. I still have like nightmares about the second movie. Never read the books because if the movie is pushing the threshold, yeah, I ain't gonna be okay with it in the books. Anyways, this guy literally takes people's faces and wears them to pretend he's other people. And apparently there was a bedroom scene between a husband and a wife. I don't know if that's a spoiler, so apologies, guys, if that is. Where she thinks she's with her husband. Yeah. So I'm like, ew, no, thank you. That's going away. No, thank you. Okay, then we have Fletcher's Fortune by John Drake, another pirate book, which I guess pirate can be hit or miss as far as the sexual content. You know, I mean, it's pirates, so like, apparently this is quite sexually explicit as well. So unfortunately, bye bye for you. And then we have this is a chunker. I'm actually happy to say that this one can come off, not because I'm like happy to get rid of the book, but it's huge, and so it frees up so much space on my shelves. And that is the Black Jewel trilogy by Anne Bishop. This has Daughter of Blood, Heir of the Shadows, and Queen of Darkness. It's a bind up of the three novels. So my gosh, this book. I mean, it's a nice floppy paperback. If you're gonna have a big book like this, you might as well be nice and floppy, but apparently this one is also quite sexually explicit as well. I don't need to go any further. That is why this is coming off of my shelves. Okay, we have The Inquisitor's Wife by Janine Calogridis. And this was super interesting to me because this takes place during the Spanish, what's it called? In 1481. So, I mean, it's like very historical. The Inquisition. The Spanish Inquisition, that's what it's called. But again, sexually explicit. Even though I know like that could be accurate to the time period, I'm just like, man, it's always such a bummer when there's a book you're really excited for and then you find out it has content in it that you just aren't cool with. Yeah. Anyways, it is what it is. You're getting to close to being done or getting to the dog part for the not just dog but like animal part. So anyways, next up. Oh Jesus. Oh, Jesus, I smacked myself in the face. The Thousandth Floor. Apparently, this book is not happy I'm getting rid of it. The Thousandth Floor by Catherine McGee. This is supposed to be like Gossip Girl, but YA. Never watched Gossip Girl, so that may clue people into it. I don't know if Gossip Girl was super smutty. I have no idea. And it's a futuristic. It's 2118 in New York. They all live in this high-rise tower, but apparently there's a bunch of teenagers having sex all of the time, and it's on page, like open door type of stuff on page. So y'all know how I feel about that. Goodbye book. I have been debating on hauling this book actually for a long time because I read a book by this author a couple years ago and I despised it. I hate read it. I hate read it. And it also had explicit sexual content in it that I was not cool with. And so I was like, this book, it might, I don't know. I was willing to give it a shot because they just came out with a TV show that I'm interested in. And that is The Hunting Wives by May Cobb. I read My Summer Darlings by May Cobb. Hate read that book. Was not cool with, I hated how it ended. I thought it was stupid. To be honest with you, the ending sucked in my opinion, and it has explicit stuff in it that, like, once again, I was not okay with. And I have heard this is also more on the explicit side. I've had this book on my shelf since April of 21, you all, but I've been scared to read it because of that. And I mean, it's very pretty. Like I love this. The colors are bright and beautiful, but Unfortunately, due to the content in that book, I have a feeling I'm not going to like it. I'm thinking Maycop is just not an author for me if all of her books follow the same pattern as that. I will try the TV show. Okay, the next couple ones kind of are borderline. Like, they do have some animal stuff in it, but they also have some stuff that like could be considered too sexual for me. I will go ahead and leave a timestamp down here so you guys don't even spoiled like with you don't even want to know what the books are, because like I'm like, oh, there's pet death in here, and I show the book, you'd be like, oh, now I know. Go to this number here, and we'll be done with the spoilery chats. Okay. But if you are still here and you don't care about spoilers in that way, or you like me need to know if this is in a book, we'll start off with The Ghostwriter by Julie Clark. This one I think borderline, because I've gotten conflicting results on this one. So I've heard that there is a dog that dies in here, and I've also heard that there is some more explicit abuse that happens in here as well. Again, I don't know if that's true. I have not read the book. That's the same for all of the ones I haven't read. I'm just going off of what the internet told me. But I also was kind of iffy on this one because I have heard that this one leans a little bit more into the political aspect of things. It like name drops certain political people, and I hate that when books do that. I don't want real life. I love political books when it's not real life. I don't want real life politics in my books, if that makes sense. So yeah, this one, for many reasons, is going to be unhauled. And then we have The Land of Dead Horses. This is by Bruce McCandless III. This one kind of goes back and forth between the two. I don't think there was like pet death in here. Obviously, title Dead Horses. Yes, there are dead horses in here. I do think there's like some donkeys or something, or horses, pack animals that are killed, that they're not just like random bystanders. They actually mean something to the characters. And also, this is like a gritty western. It's a horror. So I am very picky with my horrors. I will read them, but I'm very picky with them, as you know, there's a lot of content in horror that I'm not okay with, and I think this gets a little bit more on the gorier side, and then adding that with the animal stuff, I'm just like, we're just gonna say goodbye to you. This is kind of the same thing. This is Last Things by David Searcy. This is another horror that sounded really interesting. It won the International Horror Guild Award for Best First Novel. It was kind of giving me like Blair Witch vibes, but I guess there is some pretty intense animal death. I don't know if it was pet death specifically, but there was some like visceral animal death on page, and once again, I am not comfortable with reading that, so that is going away. This book is not animal death, but it is abandonment, and that is another thing that I emotionally I can't handle that. So that's The Wolf Road by Beth Lewis. Really wanted to love this book. I don't know if you can see him, but he is here. It's about this girl who like is raised by this man called the Trapper. She lives in the woods with him, and she like knows how to survive off the woods and fend for herself and all that kind of thing. But she finds out that he's like this serial killer kind of guy. So she escapes from him and has to survive, and she has a wolf companion, like a wild wolf that joins her companion. At the end of the book, this is a spoiler. If you don't want to be spoiled, don't listen. At the end of the book, she basically drives the wolf off and makes it go back to live in the wild, because she feels the wolf will be better, safer in the wild than where she needs to go. Which, maybe that's true, but I can't emotionally handle that. That would emotionally destroy me, having to read that. So that one's off my shelves. And the last one, guys, we're down to the last book. This one I debated because I knew when I bought it that this was going to be a heavy animal thing. And that is Once There Were Wolves by Charlotte McConaughey. I figured there would be some sort of death in here, and I thought, okay, I'm good. I can handle it. Then we got to a scene where there was one of the wolves was killed, and no, I couldn't handle it. It's a bit of a dystopian kind of like near future climate change book, where they are reintroducing wolves back to Scotland because they've been hunted to extinction. They're reintroducing wolves. And of course, one of the wolves is killed, and it's done in a way that's like very hard and emotional for our main character, and that's what gets me. It's like, oh, it's sad we see that a wolf died, whatever. That's one thing. It's another thing if it's like impactful to the MC. That's where I really can't handle it. And then we also have some more explicit scenes in here as well. I think it's just like a one-time thing, but I got to the part when I was reading this, I have tried this, I soft DNF'd it. I did get to a part where the death happened and I had to stop and put it down and take a minute because it really, really affected me more than I thought it was going to. I've had it on my shelves for a while since then. I've been debating back and forth. Do I keep it? Do I not? Look at that face, guys. Look at that face. That is a face. It's like a wild hyena. I'm still kind of debating, do I keep it? Do I get rid of it? Because the prose are so beautiful. The storyline is a very beautiful story. I gotta let it go. I just have to. I can't. It's just not something that I can deal with. It's too triggering. I'm just gonna be straight up honest. It's too triggering for me. So unfortunately, that goes. Hey guys, excuse me looking a little crazy. I found more books that I am unhauling. I've kind of gone a little crazy, but I'm happy about it, you know, like it's good. It's needed to be done. So, I have 3 that I have not yet read, but I found out that there's content in them that I don't want to read about. We have Rebecca Zanetti's book, Can You Hide?, which is a thriller. And apparently there is some explicit sexual stuff in here, so that one's going away. Natural History of Hell Stories by Jeffrey Ford. This is an ARC from 2016, y'all. That's how long this thing's been on my shelf, so I guess it's probably good that I'm getting rid of it. It's an anthology of horror, which, if you know me, why do I even have this book in the first place? I don't know. But apparently there is some pretty gruesome content in here that I won't enjoy reading, so I'm going to get rid of that one. And then the last one that I haven't read yet is The Desert Prince. It's a chunky book. This is a ARC that I got in 2021. Yes, I know, I'm terrible at reading my ARCs. And I have heard that there is sexual content, explicit sexual content in this that I would not like either. So these ones are going off my shelves. Okay, actually I do have one more that I haven't read. And that is Heroine by Mindy McGinnis. This deals with drug addiction and like, I think it's the opiate crisis and stuff like that, which I've heard it's a really good book. I just don't think it's the type of book that I'm really going to enjoy. So I figured I'll just let this one go. And hopefully someone else can, like maybe someone who really needs to read it can pick it up. You know what I mean? So those are all the books I haven't read. And then out of their books I have read that I'm going to get rid of, The Ravens by Cass Morgan and Daniel Page. I did really like this book. It was in the 4-star range, but it does deal with witchcraft. And I've just been really convicted about keeping those kind of books on my shelves. So this one is going away. Again, I really liked it, but I don't need to keep it. That was a YA book. Then we have Pretty Little Wife by Darby Kane. Read it, enjoyed it, thriller, 4-star range, but wasn't the most groundbreaking thing, so it just doesn't need to stay on my shelves. This one, Behind Her Eyes by Sarah Pimborough. I thought about keeping it for a while because this actually was a 5-star, but the only reason why this was a 5-star was because the ending was so wild and twisted and just crazy that I was like, I loved it. But there's a lot of content in this book that I really, really don't like. And so even though it was a 5-star, I think I can let this one go. Then we have A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. I definitely do still want this book, but I do have the follow-up of the series in a different edition. This is the Book of the Month edition back when they did YA editions. And so I'm going to be unhauling the Book of the Month edition, and I will be at some point acquiring the regular edition to match my other ones. So nothing wrong with the book, I just want a different edition. And then last but not least is a graphic novel called Lock and Key, Welcome to Lovecraft by Joe Hill and Gabriel Rodriguez. I actually very much enjoyed this. I do want to continue on with the series, but it is quite brutal. The artwork is pretty, there's a lot of gore, and I'm trying to find a page I can show you that's like not super bad. So here's like an example of the artwork. Like I said, I do want to continue with the series, but the book itself is quite gory. So it was a gift, which I feel really bad getting rid of it because it was a gift, but I don't know, I need to be strict with what I'm keeping, you know? So this one is going to go as well. That, I think, is everything that I have found since I did the unhaul. So let's go back to Past Me, and I will finish up this video. Just kidding, I found 3 more. Actually, I didn't just find 3 more, I just forgot because they were in a different pile. So the next 3 that I am unhauling, and I believe this will be the last of my updates, we have The Vanishing at Loxby Manor. This is by Abigail Wilson. This is... Whoa, sorry, I just realized the sun was doing weird things. This is a Christian fiction like historical mystery type of story. And I did enjoy it, but it wasn't my favorite, so I don't need to keep it on my shelves. I would prefer to keep on books that I absolutely adore, you know what I mean? And then we have The Oath by Frank Peretti. I do really love this book, but I do have a different edition that actually belonged to my grandpa, and so that edition was very special to me. It is a hardback, so for a while I was thinking I could have a hardback and a paperback, but honestly, I reread this book not long ago, and it didn't really hold up to what I remember. It was still really good, but it didn't hold up to what I remember, so I'm going to let this one go as well and keep the edition that my grandpa had. And then the last one is The Five Love Languages by Gary Chapman. The reason why I'm getting rid of this is because this copy is damaged. I don't know if I got it damaged or if it got damaged somehow. I have no idea. I don't remember when I picked this one up, but I would still like to have this book, but I would like to have an undamaged copy. So I'm just going to let this one go because it's not anything I'm going to be referencing anytime soon. So yeah, it can go, and I will get myself a new copy that is not damaged. Okay, hopefully that's all. Hopefully that's the last time you see me from the future. Let's go back to past me and wrap this thing up finally. But yeah, guys, that is all of the books I'm unhauling. That's a whole heck of a lot. Holy cow. That's a huge pile. I mean, it feels good though. It feels good to get these books off my shelves. Like I said, like that first chunk of them were books that had already been in the unhaul pile for a while. But this other chunk has only been like a day or two that I was like finalized what I was truly getting rid of. I think there was at least like 25 books in that pile. So there'll be numbers on screen to tell you guys how much I got rid of it. Then you can obviously count for yourselves as I'm talking about them. But whew, I have a few empty slots on my shelves now. I had to rearrange things, put things in different places. I don't have as much space as I thought I was going to have, though, honestly, getting rid of that many books. I'm like, how do I still not have room on my shelves? But yeah, I got a few gaps here and there that I can accommodate a few more books, but I'm hoping to go to my local indie sometime this week. Other than the few that I said for sure I'm taking to a free little library. Whatever the indie doesn't sell, I will attempt to post my Pango. So if there's anything you're interested in, actually, if you're interested in any of these books and you think you might want to buy it from me off my Pango, please comment down below and I will make sure to add it, because I might just be like, I don't have the energy and just give them all away. I don't know. We'll see, guys. I don't know what my plans are, but again, also, if you made it to the end of this video, and like I said, if you know, sorry if you hear him panting, if you know for a fact that any of these books do not have the content that I said I was concerned about, let me know, because obviously I had these all on my shelves for a reason, and I wanted to read them all for a reason. So if you're like, actually, I've read that, and I know for a fact that content's not in there, your information was incorrect, please tell me, let me know, and I will reconsider. If you made it to the end of this video, leave the German Shepherd dog emoji in the comments, because why not? Let me know anything down in the comments. Give me all the deets. Let me know what your thoughts are on my impromptu shelf audit. If you think I should keep any of these books, if you think like, yeah, good job, get rid of it, you're not going to like it. Let me know all of that too. All the things. Tell me everything in the comments. Like, tell me what you had for breakfast. I don't care. I just want to chat with you all. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to give this don't forget to give this a thumbs up if you liked the video. I know it's all over the place, but I really do appreciate if you made it to the end. It means a lot, guys. And make sure thumbs up, comment, like, subscribe, all of the things. I will hopefully see you in my next video. Bye.